Hey everyone, welcome back to Toasted TCG. So this past weekend, I got to play at my very first Edison tournament, getting second place with WellDAD. The reason I wanted to play WellDAD was I'm super unfamiliar with Edison. There's a lot of interactions. I honestly, I can't say that I know a lot of cards I don't know. Of course, a lot of decks I don't know. I wanted to play something that I felt kind of familiar with, and seeing that there was a deck that Armageddon Knight gets played in, I really just immediately latched towards that. Back in 2018, I played Dark Warrior FTK. I played a lot of Danger decks. I think for a brief time, Danger Thunder played some Armageddon Knight. Um, I've normal summoned a lot of Armageddon Knight, to say the least. Um, so this was definitely a deck that I easily gravitated towards. Um, and I did pretty well with it. My first round I played against Hero Beatdown. It was Neos Alias, Gemini Spark, there's Skill Drain. Um, that was I won that match. Round two I played against a variation of Black Wings, I think. I know there's multiple versions of Blackwing from what I understand, Edison. There's actual regular Black Wings. I think there's some kind of combo or Blackwing Turbo or something like that. I think there might have been playing that. I really don't know. I think it might just been Black Wings. It's hard to say from my point of view. Round three, I played against zombies. That's kind of like a mirror match because this deck does play a zombie package in it. And then round four, was the round I lost. I went into round four as the only undefeated, so that was a pretty good feeling. But I didn't have enough knowledge and respect for Gores. So for one thing, I didn't read the card myself. I just thought it was if you take damage, you can summon it. So there's a point where it's I had two face downs, and when they attacked me directly, I was like, okay, I'm gonna summon Gores. Because I thought that they misplayed too. They attacked their biggest monster first while I had the two card set. And I was like, oh no, they misplayed. Now I'm gonna get some of my Gores, and turns out that's not how it works. Then game three, I think it was, they passed on empty field, and me still not respecting or knowing how Gores works, I was like, oh, okay, so they must have bricked. I'll attack directly, and then they had a Gores, and turns out that if your opponent summons a Gores on your first turn, you're not in a good spot. So I finished. I got second place. That was my only loss. So my tiebreakers messed me up there, I guess. That was unfortunate. But I didn't even expect to get second. Definitely didn't expect to do as well as I did. Deck just really very good deck. A lot of this was just me looking into it, doing some research. There was a deck list that I found that I really liked. So I don't want to say I copied it, because I definitely made a few adjustments to it that I felt oh, this might work, this might work. But I'll link that in the description if you wanna. If I do find that channel, I'll link that video down in the description. Just give them credit for helping me get a good baseline for this build. But with that all out the way, let's get into it. First up, we've got our Dark Warrior package. 2 Armageddons, 2 Dark Refer, 2 Malicious. So I believe Malicious is at 2. If that's 3, then I definitely made a big mistake. But 2 Malicious, 2 Dark Refer, 2 Armageddon Knight. These are just the best starters, and they could effectively be extenders too for the deck's play lines. I think Dark Refer overall is the best one, because this is a really strong 2-card combo if you open it. Summon Greffer, pitch Armageddon Knight, it's also an option, or normal Armageddon, pitched Malicious. Any one of these gets you a Malicious in the yard, but if you open Greffer and you have the Malicious to summon the Greffer, you just get to go pretty hard that turn. Moving on, the next Warrior package, the next Darks that we got, of course, the Gores I mentioned. That's one of our one-ofs. Our Sangan. This card feels really good in Retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, in GOAT format, like, it's a good normal summon. No one really wants to, like, interact with the Sangan. It's kind of the same here, but it's also, if they don't interact with the Sangan, then they risk you normal summoning a tuner next turn and using it and just getting, like, infinite value. If you have, like, Sangan plus, like, a mind control on their tuner, it's infinite value. Like, this card's just, like, so cracked. Caius the Shadow Monarch. Like I mentioned, I definitely did like some research into this format so I can like build my deck pretty effectively. And Caius was definitely like I seen Caius like all over the place, so I had to try it out. It was pretty good. I also learned that Caius, when it banishes a dark monster, burns your opponent for 1,000. And the way I learned that was round 2, my opponent in game 2 tribute summons Caius, banishes itself, and then he's like, "You take 1,000." I'm like, "From what?" It turns out, yes, I got killed by Caius burn. We were able to come back in game 3, but I think that was like a really cool learning experience. The whole event itself was a learning experience for me. Just see how like the format plays. But I think that was like the most memorable thing out of it was losing one of the games of round 2 to Caius burning for 1,000. Necrogarna. Apparently this actually isn't like a super popular card in WellDAD. I just thought it would be because it's a Dark Warrior and also has like the effect Engrave, so I figured like it kind of like checked all the boxes that I was personally looking for. Dark Arm Dragon. This card is crazy. This is pretty much like this card shoots the ceiling of this deck through the roof. When you can set up a Dark Arm Dragon line, and like as soon as this thing drops, it's very easy just like throw like completely like snowball the game. Card's really just absolutely nuts. 3 Krebins for the psychics. You don't need anything else. Card's a good normal summon going first because they're not going to run it over. It's your E-Telly target, it's your Well target. It's a dark, it's level 2. Like, there's all good things about that card. 2 Mystic Tomatoes, easily the worst card in my deck all day. Every time I summoned it, like, this card just never worked out in my favor. I remember one game where, like, I set it, and that was against the zombie match where they were also just setting stuff, so I can get destroyed by them. Eventually there was like, I normaled a Mizuki to flip a torrential to clear the board, losing my tomato. I swung tomato into a Gores to try to get a 2. I think I was trying to get Krebins out of my deck, and they flipped Mirror Force on it. I think there was a time where like I set the tomato and passed, going second, and they tribute a Caius, banish it, like every single time. It was like to the point where I think rounds 3 and 4. After game 1, I cited both copies out. I also learned that Instant Fusion is at 3, so I think that's a card that will go in over the tomatoes, because I actually went into this event with a 13-card extra deck, so I just didn't know what the last 2 cards should be. So I think 2 Instant Fusions, and then just like some like couple different levels as for Instant Fusion targets would be ideal over these next time. And then finally in the zombie package I mentioned, 1 Plague Spreader, card's Amazing Extender, and then you're playing the Zombie Master Mizuki, so you can easily get like 1, 2, 3 uses out of Plague Spreader in turn to build a crazy board and just like obliterate your opponent with it. Then 2 Goblin Zombies. This card was really insane. There's a lot of times like you can go like Zombie Master, get back a Goblin Zombie after you already searched off of it, and then if you like synchro it away, get another search. I thought that was really neat. This card is really good. A lot of commons here. I definitely want to like higher rarity out the deck in the future though, because I wasn't sure if this was something I was going to stick with, but after getting to play my first Edison tournament, it's definitely something pretty cool. Onto like the spells and traps though. We've got, of course, the 3 Power Well. This card I couldn't find for the life of me at a regionals. The weekend before the Edison tournament, I was at the Philadelphia regionals, and and I already had my invite, so like I kind of spent most of it just looking around for like higher rarity stuff, just like stuff to like fill in my Edison deck with. And I swear I went through all the bulk at that venue, and I couldn't find even one power well. It wasn't until the following Saturday where someone at my locals actually had a play set. One of the players that go to our locals monthly goat tournament. So we did last weekend we did Edison, the weekend before that was goat, and the weekend before that was the regionals. So like 2 weeks ago I was trying to find power wells, and at a regionals I couldn't find it for the life of me. I asked like if you're at Philly regionals this month, April, you probably saw me ask you for a Telekinetic power well. If anyone had their binder out, I was immediately going over to them like, hey, do you have Edison stuff? Do you have Telekinetic power wells? Yeah, so I was trying to find this card super heavy, like all weekend. But fortunately one of the GOAT players were able to help me out with it. I definitely like 3. Apparently some people played 2. I think 3 felt good. I think there was times where I would side one of it out. If I was going first, I'd side one of it out with the 2 tomatoes. Because, like, I don't think power well when you go first is that great. Because, like, you're not trying to set up a board when you're going first. I felt like going first kind of like, you want to set up the setup to your board. But going second, you're trying to, just like, if you have the power well in your other play lines, sometimes there's times where you can make a board. Against my round 2 opponent in game 1, I think they like set a Raiko or something and passed, and by the end of my turn they were at 300 life points. I just opened like the nuttiest hand. If I was more experienced with the deck, I probably could like kill them that turn, I think. But yeah, this card was just absolutely nuts. Then for like, there's like a lot of like one-of spell cards. You have like E-Telly, Heavy Storm, Rhoda, Foolish, Allure, MST. These are all just like good stuff cards. E-Telly, get your Krebins. You're playing a lot of Darks for Allure. MST is MST. Foolish Burial, just like dump your Malicious, dump your Plague Spreader, dump Mizuki. Rhoda for your Armageddon. Heavy Storm's Heavy Storm. BrainCon, MindCon. These cards are really good when you go second. If you open, like, if they have a tuner on board or you have a tuner in hand, you can just like take something, synchro whatever you took. These cards are great like 90% of the time. Something I did learn with this format over GOAT format is like MindCon on a set is not as good as it is in GOAT. I noticed like in this format a lot of time like there's like the Raiko that gets set, but otherwise it's like cards that you don't want your opponent having go to the grave, whereas in GOAT it's usually a flip effect. So MindCon, like there's a time where like against my zombie opponent, like I MindConned, it was a goblin zombie that they had set, and I had a tuner in hand, so like that was the goal. It was like, oh, I'm gonna synchro it away, but I'm just like, oh, this is a goblin zombie. I don't want them to have a goblin zombie in their grave. I don't want to have the goblin zombie go to their grave. So I hesitated on synchroing it away, and I'm not sure if that was a misplay or not. I mean, eventually it's going to go to the grave anyway, so maybe it was wrong on my part. Because I think the next turn they distributed over the goblin zombie for Caius, that was when they banished the Mystic Tomato I'd set that turn. Yeah, because I was like, I went like MindCon, I saw what it was, then instead of summoning my tuner, I set my tomato, gave it back to them, they tributed it, and it's just like infinite value for them. Yeah, otherwise these cards are pretty great. For our traps, we've got just like crazy one-ofs. Mirror Force, Call, Torrential, D-Prison. Apparently, I've heard that this card is at 3. I could be wrong. I thought it was at 1, so I only played 1. I might play 3 in the future. If it's actually at 3, I'm not sure if that's right or wrong. But this card was definitely very good. These were great. Also Solemn Judgment is okay. I think Solemn Judgment was okay. Wasn't like anything like super phenomenal. Return from a different dimension. This card. I only saw it one time the whole event, but when I saw it, it was like just absolutely nuts. Against my round 1 opponent, there's a point where it's like I had top decked the return. I had a Dark Arm Dragon in hand already, so I go like set the return. The only problem was I had 4 Darks in Great, but one of them was Necrogardener. So when they attacked, I banished the Necrogardener. My turn, I summon Dad. I go like we're under skill drain, so like the issue with like skill drain. But I can go like priority, banish the dark out of my yard. I banished like the whatever the best thing was, and attempt to pop his monster. Of course, it would resolve negated under skill drain. They chain bottomless actually, banishing my dad. But now that dad's not under skill drain, it does kill their monster, and then I return, getting back the Gardener, the dad, and then like the big thing, the other big card that I banished and just like killed them. Card is like really great. And finally 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blasts. 2 more just really great cards. Just like discard your zombies, the Gardener, you can discard Krebins for your well, you can discard Malicious, you can discard so many different things off this card, and it's just like great value. Moving on to the extra deck, starting with our 8s. We got Stardust Dragon, Dark Gun Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend, and Thought Ruler Archfiend. So like I definitely wanted to go for like as many vintage synchro, or like vintage, like the physical cards that like have that vintage look to them. Like modern day, if you have like a secret rare Stardust Dragon, like it doesn't look like this. I don't know how else to describe it. Like this like Collector Tin 5 Stardust Dragon, like I'm pretty sure it's like the original like secret rare Stardust. So, or like at least like one of the originals. So I want to get as many of the like more vintagey feeling ones. And it's like actually my own Red Dragon Archfiend. I owned when I was like super young. So you can like see like this tough stop. Yeah, the top is all scuffed. So you know like this card is owned by a kid. That kid was me. And then the Thought Ruler Archfiend I got at the that regionals I was talking about. I ran into the guy that sold me those Japanese Magician of Faiths. If you've seen my deck profile for my goat deck, where it's like the OG like attack box, OG effect box, and we're talking, and I actually played against him. We played the Cashier Mirror match, and then after that, I looked through his binder, just tell him like, hey, I'm looking for Edison stuff because I'm getting into the format. And he had like some OCG ultis, so like this was cool. This is like one of them that I picked up, and you'll see the level 6s, Brionac, Doomkaiser, Goyo, and I think it's like Revived King Hades or something. But yeah, those were like the other 2 I picked up. So like I made all the synchro, the level 8s, and then I believe I made I made these 3. This is the only one I didn't make. In the matchup with the zombie player, they made this, and it kept me off like so many things. I made Goyo more. I always made Goyo because it has the highest attack out of all my level 6s. I never made it for its effect actually. Doomkaiser I made against my against the zombie matchup. I took their Revived King Hades, and it helped me OTK. I'm not sure if I OTK'd it, but it helped me like win that match. And Brionac was just crazy. Every time I summoned it, Brionac was great. And like more like the weird level stuff, Cataster and Magical Android. You typically only make these if you Mindcon, BrainCon, or see Sangan. Otherwise, I don't think I made either of them all day. I don't think they never came up. Yeah, at least the cards were like they were there. There's times where I could have made them, but there's no point. There was a time where I made Black Rose Dragon and didn't use its effect. It was just the only thing I could make at that point. So this got made once. Mistworm, in round 4, there was a time I could have made it, but it was just like not even worth it. I had like Armageddon Knight, Sangan, and a Krebins on field. I could have made Mistworm. I was just like, that's not even good at all. And finally, Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. This is, I believe it's for machines. I just told, like, hey, you play this card, because, like, you side deck Cyber Dragons, so it's just, like, something, like, you might as well be playing, I guess, just in case, like, you do run to, like a Machina deck. Onto the side deck, though, talk about that. Starting with the spell cards, 1 Lightning Vortex, 1 Giant Trunade. This is, like, just for, like, go wide, like, aggro decks, like my deck, and then Giant Trunade just for, like the hero beatdown type decks. So that was just, like, basically, like, the purpose of those cards. 1 Marshmallow. So whether or not this card is that great, I decided it for aggro, and also this is, like, from the original, like, printing, Premium Pack 1. The reason I have this card is when I was, like, 6 or 7, my mom bought me a pack of this set, and this is a card that I pulled from those packs back when I was, like the exact copy. It's, like, crazy, like, what decent or good condition this card is in for, I guess there's, like, a little dink on the corner there if you guys can see it. There it is. But, like, it's crazy, like, what good quality this card is in for how long I've had it. And it's finally, like, being played in, like, in one of my decks. So thanks for buying me those packs 15 something years ago, Mom. Marshmallow. 2 Cyber Dragons. Card. Was just, like, I don't know, it's just kind of like something that I decided if I went second, I felt like it made sense to me, where it's just like I just get a free big boy if I go second. So, like, it just seemed like a no-brainer. I was like, okay, I get to just slap this guy down. They put monsters on the field. I have Cyber Dragon. I can, like, summon Krebin, synchro into Black Rose Dragon if they're playing, like, a back row type deck, and just wipe them out. Seemed like a pretty good idea. I think I summoned it once, and it was basically as good as I expected it to be. I definitely enjoyed Cyber Dragon. 3 DD Crows. That's another card where, like, I just did my research, and a lot of people recommended, like, hey, you should definitely be on DD Crow. There's definitely a couple graveyard shenanigan type decks out there, and when I had DD Crow, it was really good. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole. This is just, like, if I was going first, this is the card that I'd always side into. 2 Compulsory. I never sided this card in at all the entire event, because, like, I couldn't figure out what to side in when I was going first. I was siding out, like, the 1 Well and the two Mystic Tomatoes. So it was like I'd side in, like, the 2 Bombless Trap Holes and, like, Marshmallow, or, like, a Lightning Vortex, Giant Trunade, maybe. I might have sided this in, like, once. Mask of Restrict. This was just for, like, I guess, like, Monarchs. I wasn't sure, like, how popular that type of deck would be. So I was like, I'm gonna try this out. It never came up. And then finally 2 Dust Tornadoes. Also, these actually did come up against the hero player. I don't think I saw them, but they got sided in at least. So I just like to mention, like, cards that I saw were, like, in my side deck that were actually worth siding in, even if I didn't see them or not. But yeah, otherwise it was definitely a fun event. I wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy Edison or not, but I definitely had a good time with it. The deck played very well. A lot of people gave me some pretty good advice to get to this point, and I think it worked out pretty great. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you all in the next video.